Welcome back to the We Was Watching podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel.
And we are back to talk about episode 5 of Invincible. But before we get into this episode, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a review. If it's 5 stars, we'll read it on the show. You can also follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/at We Was Watching, and just search for the We Was Watching podcast. Like our channels, like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you can see us go live, which we are live right now on a Saturday morning. And you can also email the show at wewaswatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us any theories you have about Invincible, what you're expecting to happen, what you like, and we'll read those on the show as well. And you can then also follow us on all the different social media platforms. Just search for We Was Watching, and you'll see us there. With that being said, let's jump into the recap.
Once upon a time in the projects, yo.
Well, right. Brandon.
What?
Couple things. Happy Saturday morning. Welcome to the chat code Knox and anyone else who's listening today. We passed a milestone between this last episode and today.
We did what?
We passed a milestone.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You're going to act excited about it?
I thought you were taught to do something.
Well, guys, we reached 500 subscribers on YouTube. Do you have what do we have? That's like a cheers sound. Damn. We don't have any just happy noise, do we?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So, guys, we reached 500 subscribers on YouTube. That's annoying. That probably is accurate. That's probably when we fall off. But anyway, thank you guys so much for subscribing. We have fought tooth and nail for each subscriber. So thank you so much for joining us, being a part of this journey of almost 3 years on YouTube. So we really appreciate you guys. Keep sharing it, keep helping us grow, because we kept being okay, we want to get to 500 to monetize. And now we're learning it's 1,000 before you monetize. So all that to say, keep sharing, keep helping us grow, keep looking at the clips, and we appreciate you guys.
Actually, you can monetize at 500. We just need more watch hours.
A community. Yeah. Well, something like that. So anyway, just please do us a favor. Listen to it.
Oh, I got the celebration clip. Well, guess
what? I knocked on the fucking door, bitch. Each stage.
There we go.
I don't know. You love her and you love that clip.
No, I love that clip. It's the best. We knocked on the door. And we opened it. See, there you go. That's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, some might say, hey, you guys have been doing this for a long time. Why'd it take you so long? And to that we say, we don't fucking know what's wrong with y'all.
We haven't been on YouTube.
Counterpoint. Well, we started with House of the Dragon season 2, right? And that came out about 3-5 years ago. We've been doing this podcast since pandemic time. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a minute. This podcast has been around for almost 4 or 5 years, something stupid. And then we had a hiatus when I was in my first year of business school. And so I guess I can give you till 20. I'll give you since last year we was really bumping with it. So I'll give you that. I mean, we're doing pretty good. I'm happy with it, but just would definitely like to get some money so that you can retire us both and we can move to Austin and join the Rogan sphere and be a part of that community and really see this thing blow up. You can see it's completely changed our politics and how we feel about things. Anyway, I'm excited to get to what we've been on because I have a lot to talk about, but I'm glad we're talking about Invincible today. That I feel like every time I turn around, we got a new episode. It's going off. I told Brandon I want to name this episode Nolan Takes the Boys to Yellowstone, because that's what he did. He took them to the national park and had a good old father-son time. And was my favorite part of the episode. And also, eventually, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to get to Heated Rivalry, which...
No, we're going to talk about Heated Rivalry and what we've been on. I'm not doing a whole show on that.
Yes,
I'm not. No, I'm
No, we
not.
have to discuss. Okay, we're gonna have to discuss because that's not what the people want. That's not what I want. So you're gonna be
I will
outvoted on
cut
that.
out. No, I will cut out what we've been on and post it
But
as a
you didn't
show.
even talk to me about how I want to talk about it. I have a way I
I
want to go
don't
through it
have
that
more
you.
than 5 minutes to say about the show.
Yes,
Not
you
even
do
5 minutes.
because when we
I have
yeah
3
okay
minutes on this show.
you do okay. So look, we're gonna run late today, guys. I'm letting you know that right now. And secondly, so you said you are done though, and you did not have the emotions I wanted you to have about it.
Fortunately, I'm done.
Brandon, we're gonna go down to 4.99 with you talking like that, and then we want to figure out how we're gonna talk about the boys because I'm already upset, obviously. They released a batch of episodes, so going episode by episode won't make sense, but we don't want to let it get backed up. So anyway, you'll get the boys from us sometime soon, and then
all
offline,
these great TV shows that are out right now, compelling, interesting.
You're not gonna say
television
Heated Rivalry is not
shows
compelling. You're
that
not
is
gonna say
out
Heated
right
Rivalry is
now.
not compelling.
And
You're
you
not
made me
going to say
take
Heated
6
Rivalry is not
hours
compelling.
out of my
You're
time
not
to watch
going
the
to
most
tell me.
basic storytelling I've ever
Wow.
seen in my entire life. I thought I was about to watch something groundbreaking the way you were talking about this. Oh my God, you're not going to believe it. It's so groundbreaking. It's the
I
most
didn't say you're
basic
not gonna believe it. I
storytelling
said
I've
it's
ever
so
seen.
good. I
A
said it's
7-year-old
not
could
the
write
most
this show.
It's not. Wow. You're gonna regret saying that. That's actually very anti-feminist for you to say.
I
Okay,
didn't say
well,
it was bad. I said it was basic.
you said a 7-year-old. You call her calling a woman's writing that people love basic.
It was very basic.
When J.K.
It was
Rowling
the
is
most
right there.
basic.
It was not the most basic. Stop it. Stop. I'm trying to help you right now. Stop. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Invincible, and we're gonna come back to this.
What? I can't say a show is basic because a woman wrote it. It was basic.
Exactly.
What the fuck you mean?
Nope. It was not basic. It was not basic.
I'm not
it
a
was
writer.
Simple, but it
I
wasn't
could have
basic.
wrote that show.
It was simple. It was simple, but it wasn't. See, you're missing. That's why we need to talk about it because you're missing a lot of the nuance. But we're gonna get back to it later because I don't want you to do this. There's no way. There's no nuance. That doesn't even make sense.
I'll explain this to you after this. I'll explain it to you.
I'll explain it to you.
Basic is fair. Thank you, Code Knox. It was the most basic show. We'll get to it after this.
I said simple, not basic. Oh, you're gonna piss me off. Okay.
That was a complete waste of time.
You're
Episode 6 of Invincible kicks off with competing speeches. You got Thaddeus trying to hype up the coalition and their forces.
By the way, it's Status. I learned it was Status.
Status hyping up the coalition to get ready to go to war with the Viltrumites. And Thragg giving a speech to the Viltrumites to crush this uprising and put everybody back in their place and reestablish the might of the mighty Viltrums. We see everybody's weapons. They're all getting hyped up, ready to go. Everybody starts to roll out, load up their ships, and the war begins. And then we cut over to Ollie and Nolan. And Omni-Man is given a proper burial to Conquest. And Oliver doesn't understand. So they changed this from the comic books. So in the books, when this happens, basically, it happens in a similar way where Oliver's like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, Conquest was a piece of shit. And Nolan basically explains why he does it. He doesn't get a chance to explain it here because Oliver just kind of walks off. But
I mean, I get it. He explained it.
Well, sort of. In the books, it's like Conquest was not a good person. Conquest was devoted to his empire. Conquest was more of a Viltrumite than I had ever been because I turned against my race. He spent years and years fighting with. He said basically if the Viltrumites were good and they wanted Conquest to go out there and fight on behalf of good, he would have done the exact same thing. He was just devoted to the people, and because he did that, he deserves to be buried properly based on our culture. So it was like a whole long explanation to Oliver. This time Oliver was just like, all right, bitch, I'm out, and just flew off.
Yeah, I would pause there because there's a lot in that. For one, I do think that the way that the show brought it up made it semi-clear, like he's honoring him because he's saying you might not get it because you're from a different culture, but in my culture he was like you say, he was the most of the most. Like he was doing the damn thing. He was like he's the biggest patriot basically, and they're like, so we're gonna give him his little fold his flag up and give him his little salute with the little shot with the With that said, though, I think what it brings up for me is a lot of I think we always talk a lot about politics in some kind of way on this show, to the point that Brandon forgets to bring that up in the intro, and that's okay. But because this is a show for baddies and blurs that talks about sci-fi, comic books, and politics. Remember, Brandon?
I never agreed to say that. You agreed to say
Well,
that.
I think that's a catchier theme, and it's gonna help. Anyway, whatever. The point is that we.
No, I don't have a problem with the theme. You said I don't bring it up in the show. That was your
Yeah, I feel like that's
catchphrase,
a better
not me.
intro. It's okay though. We just do a lot of on the spot producing, and that's my fault. But what I'm trying to say is this: when we talk about politics on this show, I think something that's interesting is how do we get to the point we're at in politics today, and some of it is because like pluralism is the only way to live, right? Like there has to be other people's belief systems have to be able to thrive. Like it just has to be, right? Like there's no freedom in the world if you're being suppressed or forced to choose like one religion or one way of life or whatever. I think we can generally agree on that. But the challenge is that some people's belief systems are inherently violent to other people's, and that's where we really need to like pick a new golden rule about how that works. And I think it speaks a lot to like the discourse we have right now where, for example, the whole Tucker Carlson was like, oh my gosh, Donald Trump said the F word on Easter. What kind of person is he? And it's like, we've known what kind of person he is by all his actions and how he treats brown people and women for all his life. Like all his life, we've seen that, but it's just now affecting you in this way. And so you want to call out his morals, but like people could have told you his morals were amoral from other actions. And my point is that for the Viltrumites, you might think, oh, they're so terrible, but to them, they think they're doing, like, again, they think they're the master race. They think they're superior. They think they're helping other people, and other people are sad for not realizing they should just get on with it and like be enslaved. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, again, there needs to be like a golden rule or like a North Star for all politics of like allowing people their ability to exist as long as they are not trying to extinguish other people's right to exist. And I think if we could adopt that versus the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated, because I think that people would exploit that. If that was a new golden rule, I think it would help a lot of the global and like the space politics and shows and the real politics in real life. But anyway, that's what it made me think of. Like, Nazis buried their own and were like, oh man, he was a good soldier. Man, I wish he was still here. And that same person, like, antagonized and tortured people for $8.50 an hour, whatever shillings, whatever they sell in pounds. Like that's somebody else's reality. And that to me really like fucks me up when I think about the layers of how people justify the things they do that hurt people, but how it still is very real to them. That's all that made me think of, like the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. And so
Thanks,
Nolan,
welcome. And also welcome to the chat, Rovitar08. Welcome. I think this is your first time here. Invincible power scaling is so inconsistent. That is something we need to talk about. And then Code Knox said that they are zealots. And I think that zealots is a good way to think about like people who get gung-ho and lose a plot.
Nolan informs Mark they're going to be here for months. I mean, Nolan informs Oliver that they're going to probably be here for some months because Mark's it's going to take some time for him to heal. So we cut back to the Viltrumite ship that Alan and Zoe are on.
Mind you, they got Mark all like wrapped up, and I'm like, ain't no way Nolan put them guts back in the right order. Ain't no way he looped the intestine around, right, and
He
put
don't
the
have
kidney
to.
back in.
He's going to heal. It's going to heal himself.
But I was just thinking, like, he just kind of shoved him in and closed the door. It was like, as long as they don't spill back out, we're good.
That's why you need that super healing, You gotta get that super healing. Then we cut back to the Viltrumite ship. Alan and Zoe are playing video games. Then they spy in on the Viltrumites, and we find out that Krieg wants Lucan, who's played by Phil Lamar, to go over there to the Glacier Prime because it's about to be this big ass fight. And Alan was like, "This is our way out, dog. The coalition is there. All we gotta do is make a break for it. When we get there, we get on the other side of that line, and we got protection. We straight." And then they was like, "But we still got a couple hours till we get there, so let's finish this fucking game." And they get back on the video game. So we go back to the alien planet, and Nolan is beating the shit out of some bug, and he has to go inside it to kill it. And he kills it. And he's like, all right, dog, Oliver, this dinner for us. And Oliver's like, shit, me. I'm not about to eat that shit.
That I am not hungry.
Fuck, I look like. They're feeding Mark this liquid so he don't choke, but he can still get some nutrients. And Chef Nolan, is slicing this meat perfectly with a rock.
With a rock. I was like, honestly, I'll give it to him because he's that strong. I'm sure he's able to be that precise. Like he has like a big ass rock, and he's like salt baying it. He's like filleting.
And he goes to give Oliver the food. Oliver's like, I don't want that shit. I'm not about to eat. Nolan's like, we've been here for like 2 weeks, dog. You need to eat. He's like, fuck you. I'm going to bed. And
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna die of hunger. He goes, I hope.
So Oliver clearly has some shit on his mind. The next morning comes, Nolan wakes up, Oliver's like, all right, bitch, you want to act like that? We about to go train. And so they get up and they go train, and Oliver thinks he's big and bad. He's like, I know how to fight. You ain't been around, Dad. Watch this. And he starts fighting, and he can't even touch Nolan. Like, can't even put a finger on him. It's just nothing.
Yeah, it's the Hulk grabbing the guy, Loki, by the foot and just smacking him around, kind of enjoying. He's just like, this is so easy.
And then Nolan was like, you happy now? You get that shit out of your system? And that's when Oliver breaks down. He was like, no, fuck you. I was upstairs when you was talking to Debbie, like Chanel said last week.
Bruh. Thank you, because I was like, was he at a friend's house? Like, why wouldn't he have heard that? And I'm like, duh, I knew. And I don't know why, but I felt so valid.
And he said, you don't care about my mama. And Nolan was like, no, that's not what it was. And he says, fuck you. He was like, listen, I'm just trying to be a better person. It's hard, but I'm trying. So then we cut to the Glacium ring, and Alan and Zoe
But side note, this is why sometimes you got to tell yourself what you want to believe about a man's lies. And here's what I mean. No one told Debbie, I can love nobody like I love you. That's true. He said, I didn't love her like I love you. That's true. But then he told Oliver, I did not love your mom. And that's probably also true. And so it's like, you just take one of those lies and pick the one that makes you most comforted and go from there. Because basically, he loved them both, but obviously he felt differently about the chick who like spawned in 52 days differently than Debbie, who was with for 20 years. Like, I get that those are two different things. And I don't think that it's not as like resolute and objective as a yes or no, I love you. And two, it's like people change their minds, things change. You might as well just pick the thing that feels good to you, the true that feels truer to you, and rock out. Because he don't even know.
Well, he knows. It's just he was trying to get his wife back. So he gonna say anything that he think she want to hear. And he probably was thinking she probably don't want to hear that I love that other woman. Like, like I've heard a lot of women say, I could deal with my significant other having a one night stand or messing up one time. What I can't deal with is them having a whole nother relationship, emotional connection with someone else. Like, that's it for me. Right. So Nolan's probably thinking, all right, she thought that I just like, I just need to get some one night and I had an accident. She probably won't think of me as bad as if she knew that I really love this woman. That's probably what he was thinking in that moment. But, he actually, we saw him on Thraxon. He did actually care about her. So we saw it in real time. So we know that it wasn't true when he told her.
He introduced Mark to her like, this is your stepmom. And Mark was like, what the fuck? So yeah, I agree. That's my point though, is that men will lie. And it's up to you to take the lie that you like and move along because they don't even know how true their lie is.
So then Alan, we get back to the Glacium ring, and Alan and Zoe, they making a run towards Coalition space, and the Viltrumites come after them. Zoe can't keep up, so Alan gives her a little boost and throws her ass towards the Coalition, and he starts fighting both the Viltrumites for a little while by himself. And he was holding his own for a little bit, but then they start to get upper hand on him. And then my boy Space Racer shows up with his Infinity Ray. and kills one of them,
Like, what you
shoots it
gonna do?
right through him.
What you gonna do with that? She's like, bitch, it's a magna ray, and it goes straight through them and through the ship.
Blows the ship up, and Alan is cheering, and Zoe's like, I'm about to let you die, dog. You my boy. And he was like, good. And he was like, because the war not over. We gotta get down to the planet. So they fly
Yeah, by
down
the
to the
way, I
planet.
did laugh a little bit. Like so like there was a whole bit with the video game where they were like, maybe we should play the video game for longer. They're like, no, we're gonna go. But then they start going, and I know this is actually probably very accurate. I know space is very vast and like there's no gravity, whatever. But they did feel like they was flying super slow. Like I was like, y'all are gonna show up on that radar. Like it was just like bloop, 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 bloop. I'm like, nigga, they're gonna find you. And then the fact that the Viltrumites could go 10 times faster, I was just like, this is a setup. But anyway, yeah, that was a very satisfying scene. And it does, I think this is just reminding me of like Andor in terms of like the different factions coming together, the war, them fighting the different battles and them having to work together with different skill sets or whatever. And so I think even if you hated like that turnaround episode, what was it, last episode? Even if you hate it, whatever, it's like that setup is all coming back to just be very much like, all right, my peoples are here, we're all aligned, let's go.
We cut back to Ollie and Nolan. Oliver finally decides to eat and crushes some bug chitlins, and he liked them.
That is what I was scared he's gonna be like, you know, they're my balls, right? But yeah, he was like, these gonna taste good. He's like, whatever. But mind you, he was actually hungry, let alone like I always be forgetting, like that boy is not at all human. So like there's no reason why this bug wouldn't actually taste good to him.
So Nolan, well, he is.
No.
Well, no, you're right. He's not human.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, he's like, well, he look human, but I'm like, he's actually like, who's to say they don't eat that, you know, on his other planet? Like he probably was like vegetables. Yuck.
Nolan tries to, you know, make some small, he uses that as like an end to try to make some talk about him. He's like, let me tell you about your mama. And Oliver's like, don't you dare say her fucking name.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And then he slaps him.
No, he didn't have that in him. He ain't had that in him. He wasn't ready for that. He wasn't trying to get that Mark treatment.
And then a year later, Nolan did a stand-up special where he was like, I don't know who raised Oliver, but he was not raised right.
That's right. That's right.
Do you know what that's? What am I referencing?
Of course I know what that is.
Okay, because you're not responding like
yeah, I'm more aware of this stuff than you. Okay, you got to get.
No,
hit.
It's like last time when you didn't know my wife and kids reference that, and I think you're not gonna live down pat. Like it's gonna be hard for me to believe that you understand anything I'm saying from now on. I'm gonna have to test you twice as hard.
They go and the next morning they wake up and he's like, "Hey dog, Mark not healing right, man. The shit we've given him ain't good enough. He can't just have green smoothies. He needs some protein." So they're like, all right, let's go back to this cave. And they go to the bugs cave and they see some eggs. It's like, eggs got protein. That'll do. But where there's eggs, there's a mama. And so they both start fighting the mama. This mama was strong. She's trying to protect their babies. But they overtook the bug.
Again, rightfully so. You're on her planet. You're in her house.
And Oliver was like, Nolan was like, all right, man, finish her.
Yeah, he's just mad that she had the audacity to fight him back for breaking into her home and trying to steal her kids.
And Ollie was like, no, like she was just protecting her kids. Like, and if we kill her, she can't make no more eggs.
Exactly. Like you got to think, like, you know, because I like to think eventually she's got to the point where she was like, just take them.
And so Nolan was like, all right, dog, you're right. I'm sorry, I can't even.
But also, I think those are the little things. Like he's become a more introspective, like he's become more of a human being in terms of the time he spent with Alan, the time he spent apologizing, but like also thinking about the instincts he's gonna have as a Viltrumite and how those have to be unworked. Like it's gonna have to be people being like, hey, you know, you don't have to kill everybody. You like, this is not a Joker situation. Like she's not coming back for us later. And so I think those are the little things of it. It's almost like if Omni-Man one day, I assume it's gonna end like Mad Men. Don't tell me, don't spoil it.
I've never seen
I assume
Mad
that
Men. I don't know that reference.
Yeah, we have talked about that. Okay, spoiler alert in the chat. I just want to make sure, has anybody not seen Mad Men? Has anyone not seen Mad Men? Okay, this is your. I don't think we have a spoiler alert sound. So this is your bleep bleep bleep. All right. So Mad Men is about a this is not going to be super good accurate of what it's about, but it's about a white man in the 50s and going into the 60s who is an ad executive. So like he was part of advertising back when they didn't give a fuck. Like it was like, smoke your cigarettes, have a good life. Like it was all kind of stuff. They didn't care about women at all. And it's about like the progression of women in that workplace. It's about the men cheating on their wives in the workplace and different relationships. It's about racism at some points. Excuse me. It's like all of that. And so Don Draper, this is like a very bastardization of it, but Don Draper, played by John Hamm, is like a very serious womanizer who like has mommy issues, whatever the fuck. But he always liked to, like, in the middle of the day, this is what stuck out for me. In the middle of the day, he would go watch a movie, which I'm like, me. Like, I would love at 11:30 for you to be like, why is she not in this meeting? It's like, oh, she's at AMC. Like, I would love for that to be, and then I come back and I'll work hard. I'll have a drink at 3 and we'll work all night, but I would like to see my matinee. And so he goes through all this stuff where it's like about money and it's about wives and ex-wives and younger wives. And he just goes through all this stuff. He does. Oh, his daughter is Sally Draper, the one who played this assistant in Industry. Kiernan Shipka.
Is this a Mad Men recap show?
Yep. And then I'm telling you this so that you get the ending. I'm trying to build it up because if I just get to the ending, you won't get it. So the point is that he does all this stuff for money. He does all this stuff for women. He does all this stuff like throughout his life. He's a terrible person, a womanizer. We see JFK get shot. I don't know. And then he ends it all by going to become a hippie. And he goes to like a mountain retreat and gives it all up at the end. After 7 seasons of crazy shit, he's like, you know what? This doesn't matter. I'm becoming Buddhist. That's how I see Omni-Man ending. Omni-Man ending.
That is not how Invincible ends. No.
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm telling you, this is my prediction. What I would like to see is that Omni-Man just has a nice, quiet life where he lives on a farm and he likes to fish. I basically see him acting like Superman's daddy. That's what I see for Omni-Man. So that's what I want to put that out there. And if I'm right, wow.
Spoiler alert, you're not right.
Okay.
So
let me know, guys, if you think that was accurate. If I did Mad Men pretty decently. I think that was a pretty decent Mad Men recap.
So Oliver, after Nolan says he won't kill the bug, Oliver says thank you. And
is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
And Nolan's like, you're right, dog. And so we cut back to Telescria and Alan.
Wait, how does that clip fit? Can you help me?
He told him, if you kill the bug, there won't be no more eggs. Mark won't be able to heal.
Oh, I forgot we had already gone. But yeah.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
I thought it was more about the camera being on him, and I was like, oh, okay.
So Alan and Zoe get back to Telescria, and Telia shows up, who's played by Tatiana Maslany, who I love. Have you ever watched Orphan Black? It's like one of the best shows ever. And you get so excited about like people playing different characters. You should watch Orphan Black, where Tatiana Maslany plays like 8 different clones throughout the 7 seasons, and each clone is like a completely different person from a completely different background, some of them from different parts of the world because the clones got split up. So she's doing different accents and different languages and all these different cultures, and it's the same person. It's incredible. Orphan Black, one of the best shows. Chat will back me up.
The only orphan I respect is that movie where the girl is actually 35.
I don't know what that means. So Telia was happy to see her. She thought Alan was dead, but he was like, no, dog, I'll always find my way back to you. And Telia was like, well, I got a surprise for you. And they go in, and you hear the growl of Michael Dorn, and Battle Beast shows up, and Battle Beast was like, you promised me some ass to kick. Okay.
Play my Battle Beast is up in here. Play his sound.
No, he doesn't get this.
Zaddy.
He doesn't get this.
Yeah, Battle Beast is fine.
No, that's
I don't know
Worf.
how to play that to you. Battle Beast, Mufasa. Battle Beast and Mufasa are top 2 finest lions. Grown
That'll
Simba,
be
number 3.
okay. If that's your rankings.
Then it's like you agree, probably Nala, and then
No.
grown Nala, obviously, and then the queen. I don't even
No.
remember what Mufasa wife name was, and then that was kind of we only know 2 female lions. That's crazy.
They go
we
to
need a Begdell test for Lion King. I just realized there's only one female character that matters in Lion King. What the fuck? Did you realize that?
no, there's more. Thetis then asks them if Nolan and Mark are here. And Alan was like, I thought they was here with y'all. What you mean? And Talia says, hey, dog, we lost them when we lost y'all, but we had to dip out of there because we was finna die. And he was like, oh, all right then. Well, we got to get ready to go to war. So we cut back to Nolan, and they finally had their heart-to-heart. Nolan tells Ali what he said about his mama wasn't true. He just ain't want to hurt Debbie no more. Said his people, your people saved his life. He knows going to Thraxa was a mistake, but you weren't a mistake. And the time he had with your mama wasn't a mistake. And he failed you in every way a parent should have. But he's going to do his best to make sure he tries to fix that. And so Oliver partially forgives him, was like, can you tell me about my mama? Because she did die when I was like 2 months old. So I would like to know something about my mama. So then we get a montage of the war and Oliver and Nolan training. Then they go fishing. They catch this giant fucking water creature. And then they come back and they hear Mark dreaming. And Oliver and then Nolan was like, oh, that mean he good, man. He gonna be straight in a few days now. We almost at the end of this. And Oliver was like, a few days. And Nolan was like, yeah, I know it's been a long time. He was like, no. I'm finally enjoying meeting my fucking daddy. I don't want that shit to end. And
Yeah,
so,
so that's when you realize they were going to Yellowstone and they're having a good time. Do you know why I chose Yellowstone as the park they went to visit?
because that's the only park you know.
No, nigga. I've been to more than one national park. I've never been to Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you try to say it's an ignorance question?
What, you watched Yogi Bear, and Yogi Bear was in Yellowstone.
Yogi Bear, Yellowstone is a huge thing on NBC. Like I would talk about Kevin Costner if I talked about Yellowstone.
Kevin Costner
And that little boy, they be traumatizing. Yellowstone is way bigger lately because of that than Yogi Bear. Like you might be like, what? Which park was Yogi Bear in? But you know Yellowstone because that's the name of the damn show. Anyway, you're not like, I'm sorry, but Yellowstone has eclipsed Yogi Bear. No, I'm talking about Yellowstone because there's the TikTok of Yellowstone is run by this white guy named Mike or Mark. It's an M name, and he like takes pictures of like the park and then he'll put R&B, like sexual R&B songs to it, and people were like, who the hell is behind this account? Until this guy came out, I was like, oh, it's me, guys. It's just like some guy. So shout out to Yellowstone. If you want to support any parks, go there first because I think he's the best to yabba dabba do it. I do want to circle back real quick because when sometimes I make a really great point and you don't acknowledge it. So there was no strong female characters in Lion King 1. We did not reveal that women in Lion King.
You're moving the goalposts. That's not what you said the first time.
Well, you know what the Bechdel test is? Maybe that's where we should start. You know what the Bechdel test is? It's the some people don't like it, but it's this idea that you evaluate representation of women in media by whether or not there are women who talk about something other than a man. So basically there can be women in the show, but if they don't have like their own storyline outside of being married to or being in love with a boy, then they're not. So in the original Lion King, there's Nala. Sarabi is Simba's mama's name, which we barely see her. I don't even know, like, is she already dead? Like, why is she not around after Mufasa dies? And then, but apparently they tried to change it later. So like Rafiki could technically be female, even though I don't think it was voiced by a woman in the original animated movie. And then I will take this back because Zira, the hyena leader, is voiced by Whoopi Goldberg, who is a woman. So I will give them that. I will give them Whoopi. But anyway, apparently in the second Lion King, Simba's Pride, which I didn't watch, they got a lot more into like the women and like they had like they fixed that. But I will say that was definitely like a big challenge of the movies in the 90s that we love because we don't realize like, oh, they were all they were all amazing and great, but like no women did anything but like love a man or be sad about a man. And the last thing before we move on is the movie Orphan in 2009 was about this family. The Peter Sarsgaard is a dad. It's this family who adopts a kid because they lost their kid. She's doing weird, crazy shit. They come to find out she's a 35-year-old with a DNA thing that makes her look like a kid. And that's the whole, like, it's been like a grown woman living in her house this whole time, acting like a 6-year-old. So that's the Orphan. That's the Orphan. When you say Orphan Black, I just immediately like, if it's not her, I don't want it.
Orphan Black's much better than that.
I agree with you. I'm just telling you this is the kind of shit I watched when I was 12, and it just has never left me. I'll never forget this movie because I was like, that is quite the twist. The bitch is 37 and she been going to second grade and cutting people's hair off, and you've been wondering why. It's because she's going through menopause. Wow. Good one. Okay.
So then after Mark, he tells Mark that Nolan and Oliver are walking back to get their fish, and Oliver tells Nolan about his first puberty moment and how he got a little bit fizzy when he saw a lobster. And you know, Chanel, you get fizzy when you see lobster. So what does that feel like?
I don't get fizzy is not quite the word I would say for lobster. Lobster, I get more like yummy in my tummy. But I did recently see a video of a octopus opening a jar, and I realized I don't want to eat any more squid, or I don't want no more calamari. It was a lot. It was like a lot. Like they have like a lot going on in them tentacles. Like them tentacles are doing a lot.
Yeah,
and they're very smart. They have like 8 brains. Yeah, I did consider going vegan for a second after that video.
Won't happen to you. Then they get to the camp and they see Marcus gone. He walked towards the gravesite because he thought it was Ollie and Nolan. And they run up on him, they give him a hug, and Nolan tells him, "You've been out for 2 months, dog." He's like, 2 months? And then Oliver's like, "You grew a beard." He's like, "So did you." And he was
and
like,
they zoom in on it, and it's my beard. It's like 3 little whiskers on the side. I was screaming.
And he told him that he's like, "Y'all killed Conquest?" He's like, "No, you did. You killed that motherfucker." And then he tries to do that sad shit.
I didn't even think about it because, yeah, Mark was having a moment, and I was like, I thought he was gonna be like, "Why the fuck would they bury this nigga?" And then I realized, like, oh, he knew it was Viltrumite burial. All 4 of them are Viltrumites, so he thought one of them had been dead, and that would be that's the worst way to wake up. Like, damn, like not only did I not kill Conquest, but he killed one of them who I like. So I was really it helped me recognize, like, I was like, why you got so much emotion in his face? And then honestly, the animators are amazing because they really do make Mark look emaciated. Like it looks like him, but not like him. And you could tell this man has been like in a coma for 3 months, basically.
And they tell, Nolan says, "Hey dog, cut that sad shit. This is fucking war. All right, you did what you had to do, and we got more war to go fight. So let's get our shit together." So we cut back to Telescria. The coalition is talking to Thetis, and he's like, "Hey man, the cost of this war starting to pile up. How much longer this shit finna last?" He was like, "I understand the grief of each loss. It saddens me deeply, but we got some shit we got to do, and we are winning, and we can end this shit." And then we see one of the Data twins turn off the defenses so the Viltrumites can attack, and they show up and they start slaughtering everyone.
While he doing it.
Slaughtering everyone.
And that's the only way they could do it. Like, and I know we'd get to later like why he did it, but it blows my mind when it's like, actually, if you cannot do it without cheating, then you couldn't do it.
Exactly. But they might have got to his mama, so you don't know. So then Thragg tells him, "Kill anything walking," and they just start slaughtering thousands and thousands and
like,
thousands
geez,
of civilians.
Damn. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the best from a Viltrumite perspective. He's the best leader of Viltrumite. From a non-Viltrumite perspective, which is everyone else in the universe, he's scum. And it's like, that's what's so crazy about politics of power and might. You're never a hero, truly.
We also finally see Thetis fight, and obviously he couldn't fight because he killed the last
My boy
leader.
was active in that toga. My he's had that toga on for 900 years, and he was getting what he ripped it up a little. Like after the first initial like blast, he comes out ripped, and he said, "All right, I'm about to get active." I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't text it to you." I had a joke. It was like Thaddeus, more like here them, more like here go them handsiest. Like I couldn't
You
really
really
get, but
fumbled that joke. Really
I should have
bad.
wrote it down because it was better, but it was just like
Yeah.
Thaddeus was on one. He put them paws on up. He was turned up. So he was able to go. And I guess that makes sense because you don't get to be the betrayer or the person who's audacious enough to try to take them all out with the virus if you are not actually powerful enough to like understand your power. So I think in a way it makes me respect him more because he's the worst Viltrumite to Viltrumites and probably one of the best people in history to non-Viltrumites. Again, like the perspective and the politics all matter because he's strong enough to be a Viltrumite, but he was mentally curious enough to question the way that they were doing things.
We see Anissa is back, and she's fighting Zoe, so that's fun. And Mark comes and saves Zoe from Anissa, which is interesting. And so then Mark, the Omni crew is here, and they start making a comeback for the coalition. They start taking over, and Nolan's like, "Don't kill the fucking soldiers. They slaves. Just knock them out, and then once we win, they'll be free. And they can help us if they want to."
Which great, I appreciate that. Like again, these are things that are smart and good that he's doing that are also, I think, even more signs of his humanity.
Mark and Oliver take out the ship with Thragg on it that was lasering everything. It blows up. Thragg comes out. The Viltrumites start retreating, but the damage has been done. If you look around, like Telescria is crumbled.
Fuck.
Meanwhile, you see the ship coming crashing to the ground, and so all the power people fly up there and push the ship out into atmosphere, so it doesn't do further damage to the city.
Right. So he's rushing through a very heroic moment. So like when they bust through the ship, for one, it does make General Thragg, like we said, he has to scramble. And so that's a very satisfying moment because you get like the guy who just told them to kill everything that's walking to like have to scramble and grab like the skull of his leader and run off or whatever. And then the ship, though, instead of it just blowing up and kind of like becoming patooey, like it splits in half, and those halves start to meet gravity, and so they recognize that everything's gonna fall. So Mark and Oliver are like, "Oh, let's go get it," but they're not strong enough to do it because it's a whole ship, and so then everyone goes and helps them, which is like again like another metaphor for how this war is going to be won, or this idea that like Mark and Oliver are not like they're strong enough to do it on Earth, but like this fight will take them all, like whatever metaphor and like symbolism you want to put into it, and so they all together pushing with all of their might. Thetis, the little girl in the rocket ship outfit, Nolan, everybody, it takes all of Alan, it takes all of them to get that up into space, and then they get it there and it's like very satisfying. But yeah, when they get up there and they can see the destruction and how much like this planet has been affected, it's not really satisfying, but it's like the Sokovia shit in Marvel. Like they did the best they could, and they saved the entire city, the entire planet, but they might have saved the planet, but like that whole city is wrecked, basically.
And he says, Thanos was like, "Listen, this is what we about to do." Because they get the data twin that they caught to spill all the beans about why he did the shit. And he was like, "Are they going back to their crib to gather up?" And he's like, "This is what we finna do. We about to ride out the Viltrum and take the fight to them because they won't have time to get all their little armies and stuff together. It's just gonna be a few of them over there. We go in there, we take out Thragg with no leader. They won't know what to do. We're gonna win the war."
Yeah. By the way, he says that he's been betraying them for a while because they've been looking for a mole, and he says he did it because he knows they're gonna win no matter what.
He did it for the people.
No, that's
you
not
don't
right.
know that reference. That's before your time. You weren't watching wrestling back in the day. You weren't watching wrestling back in the day.
You mean like The Rock is in the People's Champ? or is that something else?
Yeah, when Rikishi ran over Steve Austin with a car, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew who
That
hit
sounds
Steve
fun.
Austin for a year, and then Rikishi came out and admitted it that he was the one that ran over Steve Austin, and he did it for The Rock.
Mm, love that. That's a good reference. Um, yeah, no, his reason was way less righteous than that. Like Rikishi was valid. His reason is he said they're gonna win anyway. They're Viltrumites, so I might as well have helped them. But that's kind of my point. Like, uh, first of all, be very careful who you align yourself with, because the truth is Viltrumites you would not be the one non-Viltrumite they let stay on their planet. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to give you safe shelter and safe harbor because you told. Like if anything, they're just going to execute you last. So I think it's a stupid alliance to make. But yes, he has his rationale that like they're going to win no matter what, so I might as well have been the one to help them. But again, going back to it, they actually only did this because they're in a bad way, and they have like limited resources. So the Viltrumites are still strong, obviously, but there's less than, we knew there was 50, and we didn't kill Conquest. You know what I'm saying? I think they killed another. Like I'm sitting here, when I promise you, I've been like 1, 2, 3. Like I'm trying to count them down because we have to be at least to 48 at this point. Like I'm really hoping that we're at 48.
That's way less than 48.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if it was me, I would have a count. Like it would be a huge tick mark in the town square, and it'd be like every time we kill one, we're gonna knock them down, because that's honestly a game. It's a game of inches at this point. Yeah. So that was when he called them all up, by the way, it was when General Thragg said Viltrumites and they all started leaving. Like, he's calling them all into Viltrum, and so that's what Thetis is saying, is that like if we can get him before if they all meet back up and had a convention, it's a wrap for us. That's 37 Viltrumites in one place. We're never gonna get it. If we can get about 6, 7 of them before, oh wow, I didn't mean to say that. If we get about 7, 8 of them before they all get comfortable, like right before the plane lands, we might be able to have a chance. And if we get General Thragg, he's saying like the whole movement is gone because they really revolve around him. And so when like the supreme leader is done, like there is no regime change, there is no like, oh, just move him up. Like which I don't know if that's true, but they're like, if we can be strong enough to do this, then we can nip this in the bud. My question for you, I mean, I guess it's hard for you to say, have a true opinion if you know where it's going, but do you think this is smart on Thetis' end, or is it reckless to go and try to do this now?
I can't answer that question because I know what happens next.
But yeah, I also think that like it's also an interesting time, because you can tell the Viltrumites to some extent are Viltrumites are to some extent are they're nervous because they are losing. Like all the pieces on the puzzle were starting to make a difference. But I also think that Thetis is so focused that even when his allies are telling him they can't, like they're like, yeah, we're gonna save the Viltrumites, but to what cost? Like our whole, half our armies are wiped out. Like that, and I think he's still a Viltrumite in his perspective of like, at the end of the day, the means justify the ends. So however many lives need to die for us to win, it's worth it. It's still a very Viltrum way to look at war. And I think that's kind of the challenge here, is but he's not wrong in the sense that if this is the race of people, if this is the what do they call it? I guess race, like human Earth race, whatever. What is it called when you're from a planet? If this is the people who, the race of people who are going to, then we're all one race. And I don't know why we fight about it.
Yeah, human race. You never heard that term before?
No, I know, but I'm like, so that's why is Hispanic a different race? Like, it should just be all ethnicity or nationality, because like we all the same race. So when you think about it, racism, y'all are dumb for that. So if Viltrumites are the scourge of the universe, if they're a danger to everyone that exists, then he's not wrong in the saying of like, yeah, your people might be alive today, but they won't be alive tomorrow if you allow Viltrumites to exist. I think I get what he's saying, but it is a challenging perspective because he's asking people whose fight is not really this to fight this. And some people are like, I'd rather just be enslaved than lose all my people. So it's just a interesting, like if you watch the episode and see like the dynamics of how they're winning and losing the war at different times. Again, it's giving Andor and it's giving their supporting status, but I'm curious. I'm a little bit suspicious of him, so I want to leave room for him to do something crazy at the end, basically.
So then they end the episode with a funny little gotcha moment. Where...
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this is your so Conquest, as we remember, at the end of last season, he almost killed Mark, he almost killed Eve. Mark is like, all right, as long as I kill him, it's worth what I went through. And we see that he's still alive, and Cecil and the government took him and put him in that under layer bunker, and then eventually he respawned, as Viltrumites will, and got off of Earth. Okay, so the idea is like, is Conquest actually dead? Because again, even when he was being choked out, turning purple and blue, he was still able to rearrange Mark's guts, no homo. And so it's like, is that what happened, right? And also, by the way, homo is okay. This just was not in a homosexual way. So he does that, and they're like, oh, is he still alive? Like, is this just another one of it? So they zoom in on Conquest's grave on that planet on Yosemite where they just were, at the Viltrumite grave. They zoom in on it, and they like play suspicious music because they're like, oh, you guys, Conquest's about to pop up out of here. He's not. And they're like, no, just kidding. He is dead. We were just fucking with you.
Yeah, that was a great ending of the episode.
It was.
What are you looking forward to next episode?
Again, I need a final count on how many Viltrumites are actually running around here. Is it 47? Is it 37? Is it 22? It's not 22 yet, but like, where are we at? I need a ticker. And Mark is I want to know if Mark grows his beard out. I need everybody besides Oliver to get a new outfit, because Nolan looked like he in pajamas, and Mark got on a halter top. So I just need everybody to reset their fits, and I know they can't go to Earth and get the tailor. So I need somebody to get some new fits. Honestly, I'm okay if they could pop up in Supreme for all I care. I just need a new outfit. I'm looking forward to. I guess we have 3 more episodes. This is episode 6, I think. Is this not episode 6?
2 more episodes.
It is.
2
more.
More.
It says 5 on the screen.
Yeah, it's 6. I'm at the right 6.
Okay. Okay, bet. So 2, that helps me. So 2 more means there's going to be an answer to this war. I see them wrapping this up in some kind of way. These battles. So I feel like there's like a crescendo to the war that's coming by the end. Like, I don't necessarily think the last scene, episode 8, is like the war being won or lost, but I think that the next episode is set up to be like a lot of action. So I think we'll get the battle in Viltrum. I could see them losing, but I don't know what that means for this storyline. And I do think they've built, just in terms of how storytelling is, I think they built this reality up so much that I don't see, like, there's not another Viltrumite war to happen. Like at this point, whoever wins this war wins the war, kind of thing. Like, there's no Viltrumite World War II. So I'm anxious about what that means for Mark and the Earthlings and whatever, because there's high stakes. So I am resisting the urge to look it up. I'm just going to let it happen. I'm going to just be open-minded to what happens next week.
Yeah, I can't say anything because I will spoil what happens. With that being said, let's get to what we've been on. So we're gonna do a little bit bonus coverage for Chanel.
Bonus coverage.
And we're gonna talk about Heated Rivalry, who she's been begging me to watch for a while now, even though it just came out like last month. So it hasn't been actually that long. And
It's
she's
been out for
hyped this
3
up
months.
like this is like
It's been
the
out for 3
greatest
months.
thing.
Brandon, you're already gonna make me mad. It came out
It's
in
the
like November.
greatest thing that's ever hit television. And like, if you just don't watch it, you just don't understand cinema and good television. You're just not of the arts if you don't get this. So I was looking forward to it. I sat down and I started watching it, and I was bored out of my fucking mind. This show was so boring so
You're gonna upset
predictable,
so many people.
so
You're gonna upset
boring,
so many people.
so predictable, so cliche, so by the
Not
book.
cliche. Not
Anyone
cliche.
could have wrote
Not by
this
the book.
story. It was the
Not
most
true.
basic.
You don't have to be so mean.
It was the most basic, quote unquote, love story I've ever seen.
Not
Except it wasn't a love story. The love story in the show didn't even involve the two main characters. The only good love story in the show was with, what's his name? Sam?
Oh, so you're dumb. Okay, that's what it is.
What's his
I get
name?
it now.
Sam? What's the guy's name? And the dude
I
at the
get that.
smoothie shop.
That's
That
right.
was a
Yeah,
love
yeah.
story.
That's
Ilya and the other dude was not a love story at all.
I get it now.
It just made no sense. I won't
You're
say
too
it
dumb to
made
get
sense.
it, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Oh, it's not that hard to get. It's nothing to get. It's the most basic shit you've ever seen. And
That's why you didn't pick up on the nuance. I'm getting it now.
there
Okay.
was no nuance in this. There was zero nuance.
That's why you're not picking up the nuance, because the fact that you would suggest there's zero nuance is how I know that you just couldn't grasp it, because nothing has no nuance.
What
the
this
stupidest joke
was,
in the world, a poop joke has nuance.
what this was we're gonna do a gay love story,
No.
and it's gonna shock people because they're not used to seeing that on TV. And gay love stories don't bother me. I got no problem with it. So I just looked at it through the lens of, okay, tell me a good love story. And it wasn't a good love story. It was the most basic love story. In fact, it wasn't a love story. They went 5 episodes with not even having a conversation with each other. They don't even talk. How am I supposed to believe they care about each other? Every time they see each other, they say, hey, what's going on? What's going on with you? I'm going to make a funny hockey joke about you sucking. Ha 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 ha, let's fuck. And then they leave. And that was the first 5 episodes. That's not a love story. There was no emotional connection. There was no building. There was no coming together. They didn't even know each other's names. They knew nothing about each other. There was no love. It was just a series of one-night stands that then all of a sudden came together that I'm in love with you and 5 episodes later. It was the most basic, bare bones story I've watched in years. It wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was basic. I'm comparing this to how it was hyped up to me. It wasn't a bad story. It wasn't like plot holes. Well, that's kind of a plot hole, but it wasn't like plot holes in the story or like bad acting. The acting was excellent. In fact, the best scene on the show, the best scene on the entire show, the only time I felt any emotion watching this entire show was when Shane basically comes out to Rose. And I thought that brought a tear to my eye because I thought that scene was excellent. Because the acting was great in the whole show. I'm talking about the premise of the show and the plot of the show. It was so basic. If I'd have took my notepad out and said, write a love story about 2 hockey players coming together, I could have done that. And I'm a horrible writer.
Wrap it up. Wrap this shit up, B.
They know, people know, the people listening know I'm telling the truth.
No, I'm about to pack you up. So go ahead, get your thoughts out.
No. Tell me how this is so magnificent storytelling.
So first of all, this is a book series that started in 2018, and this is the first adaptation of the first novel. And so there's more to be said about this long story. And it's based on the fact that there is like virtually no gay men in hockey. So like I'm not gonna pretend to be the historian of the books. But the series is Game Changer series by Rachel. Oh my God, why am I messing up her name? By Rachel Reed. And so she there's context for this. And so I think, yes, from an HBO perspective, there's this idea of like shock value, but the book was already written like this. It wasn't like they developed this show to be their gay show, right? So the other things to know about it is that the man who plays Ilya Connor's story is actually a queer man from Texas, which is why his Russian is crazy. Like he plays so good Russian that when you hear him talk and he talks so different, you're like, oh wow. So Ilya is amazing, and I'm gonna call them Rosenhoff or whatever. And then Shane is like a white Asian man from Canada who's just gorgeous to look at. Hudson Williams is just gorgeous to look at, and they had a very chaotic media experience, which made it better because Hudson Williams was like people are thirsting after this book. They're thirsting after the show, and they have these things where they would be reading tweets, and Hudson Williams is like, listen, I want you to watch this show on movies. I want you to watch this show on planes. I want you to put it and walk around with it like a boombox. Like I want people seeing me get my cheeks clapped everywhere. Like it was a very unhinged advertisement of the show, but and what people love about it is that it's a straight man playing with a queer man, and both of them being secure in their sexualities, and both of them being able to be friends and play this. And I think so, bar none, it's revolutionary in how we're looking at these actors interacting this very secure masculinity that you're seeing from these men, because their friendship off screen is like makes people stand them more. Like Hudson had to come out and be like, hey guys, I do have a girlfriend, because people wanted them to be together so bad. But I think like the love that he shows his gay co-star off the show, it's like it all goes together to why people started to really love it, because the two men who play these roles are amazing people, and they like
none of that has to do with the show.
I'm telling you that as this was happening, as the show was coming out, and people were starting to really love it, because they're like, okay, now I actually love these actors, and they make the show better. Because like I just said, if you introduce to him as Ilya Rozanov, and then you hear this little boy from Texas talk, you're like, whoa, that man's a good ass actor. So that's
but I don't care if he's from Texas. I'm talking about the show.
I'm telling you the foundation. I'm giving you the context, because
you gave me the outside context.
I'm giving you the context because you said it was basic. And
I said the show's basic.
I'm telling you why the reaction to it has been what it is, because of how these external things that make people realize, okay, I want to embrace this show. I'm not done. I'm just starting. I want to embrace this show as something that's like, I didn't want to watch that first. And I'm like, oh, I think it's just about gay sex, but it's not necessarily that. So that's the outset. The show itself, when you think about it, so if you look at just Shane's trajectory, Shane is a closeted Asian in Canada who represses so many of his feelings, but he likes Ilya from the moment he introduces himself in the beginning. And then Ilya is not so much repressed because of the bisexuality that was kind of there, but he has that really unhealthy Russian dynamic going at home, where like when he chooses to live in any way, live out his sexuality, he chooses to never go back home. So there's like these two things that cause their interactions over like 8 or 9 years. Their patience and their like the slow burn is what makes it insane that they actually get to a place where by the end of the season, they're ready to embrace it. They're together to an extent. That growth is like amazing for somebody who hadn't even come out the closet to his own parents, let alone when he does come out the closet, he's like, and this is my man and this is whatever. So I think there's some beauty in that arc, especially when like you think about this Russian man who like, so there's the nuances. People go back and are like, wait a minute, now that you think about it, Ilya probably loved him from the beginning, but he didn't even know it. And you see that in the first 2 episodes when you rewatch it. So there's nuance in how they interact with each other. There's nuance in how eventually they do open up to each other emotionally. And I think it's interesting to see male relationships develop like that, because men are notoriously more open sexually than they are emotionally, and so it just kind of follows that in like a very cool way. Then the Scott and Kip of it all, that moment of like relief you get. So okay, sorry, go back to when Ilya won and Shane had to act like he hated him in front of his classmates, and he wanted to cry for him and smile for him, and he couldn't do it. Teammates, yes, teammates. When he was at the teammates' house and he was like holding all of that in his face, like I think it's just people just felt those feelings of like he loves him, but he can't let it out. So I think there's like so much empathy you're starting to get for these characters and all the stuff they're holding in, to the point where you want them to scream it out. And so when Scott and Kip come out, that like that moment and what that meant for them gave us all a feeling of relief. Like, okay, they're finally going to act out their feelings. And so when they go to the cottage, it's just like the cottage is a space for them to just finally tell each other they love each other. And it feels earned, at least to me, because they had so many moments where, like, again, if I was Shane, I would have been blocked Ilya. We never would have got here. But because they're men and they have this ability to be like mean to each other without it having like the gender nuance to it, they're able to come back. Because like when Ilya first cussed him out, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's a wrap. But they still keep coming back. So yeah, I do understand and appreciate, like in the beginning, it just feels very raunchy. But if you rewatch,
I don't care about the raunchy. Nothing you said was revolutionary. All that is like stuff we've seen before on every love story ever.
but I don't know that we've seen, but I think there's a difference. Okay. What I'm trying to say is seeing this level of love, unrequited love, waiting love, patience, nuance is something that like you don't get. First of all, you don't get it in most like hetero romances because like you don't get this 9-year build up where it's like no story has been just a chick hooking up with a dude over 10 years and then you're happy when they get together. So I think there's like a bit of relief that happens because they're two men, because there's something very like uncomfortable with this story if it's hetero. And so for me, like it would not be a happy story in the end if the people get together after 10 years of him playing in her face. But in this dynamic,
what's the difference?
Because there's a gender and a sexism piece to it, because it's a man. Like the difference is the way that men and women interact in this world. Like men.
Yeah, but that's the outside applying like that to that, not the relationship itself.
And that's what the outside. But it does matter. It's just like what I'm trying to, okay, because if two men are together and one man doesn't treat that man good, there are other spaces in life that man still has the privilege of being a man. But for women, you have to be so careful in relationships to not be treated with patriarchy and misogyny in your relationships and in public. So it's like sadder and more sobering to watch a woman get treated badly by a man. Whereas where a man, that's not going to change his station in life. They're both amazing hockey players who like.
But who was treating who badly?
Ilya was rude to Shane at the beginning. He was an asshole to him.
No,
when
he wasn't.
Cussed him out and told him
he was just himself. So no.
So anyway,
they didn't have a love story. There was no love. They just hooked up.
You're missing.
You know how many hetero relationships I know of in real life, and you've seen on TV shows for 40 years, where it's just people hooking up for years, and then they find. How many TV shows have we seen where it's like,
that's what I'm saying. You missed it.
We tried it, we didn't try it. We tried, we didn't try it. We hooked up a few times, we didn't hook up. We had a couple fights, and then season 5, they finally come together. Like it happens all the time.
That's what you're missing. That's what you're missing. That's not satisfying, and that's not what this was.
This wasn't satisfying at all. I could care less if they got together.
You missed that they loved each other from the beginning.
No,
and if you go back and rewatch it, you will see it. Now, I'm telling you why people love it, and you might miss it, and that's okay.
I didn't miss it. It didn't happen.
I'm telling you.
What's the other guy's name? Sean? What's his name?
Ilya and Shane.
No, not Shane. Kip and who? What's the other?
Kip and Scott.
Scott. Kip and Scott is a love story. Kip and Scott met each other, right?
Kip and Scott is like they just thought each other was cute. And they rushed it.
No, they didn't rush it.
By the way, they went way too fast.
Kip and Scott know more about each other than Ilya and Shane. They actually had conversations with each other. They actually talked. What are you talking about? There was no interpersonal interactions between Shane and Ilya
Scott was more repressive in the beginning too. Like the way that Scott treated Kip in the beginning was the most unloving. Scott hiding him out like that and making him isolate from his family and friends was not a loving thing to do. So that's what I'm saying. Like that was more harmful than what Ilya and Shane were doing. That's
I don't care about harmful. Like, I'm saying,
but that's but love is about that. It's in the equation.
It was rewarding when Scott won the Stanley Cup to come out and say that, because everything that happened before that led to that. They actually knew each other. They actually cared about each other.
You need to add according to Brandon, because I'm not clipping this if you're going to put heated rivalries extra mid. I don't think you understand how many people you're going to upset. You need to be clarified from Brandon's perspective. Take my name out of this.
This is for us. This is our podcast.
Update this text. Debate. You can add debate to that or something, because I do not think the heated rivalries. Thank you. Oh my fucking! I did not see that. Thank you. Listen, you are missing out on it, and I'm trying. And you don't want to see it. I'm not missing anything. Okay.
No,
I don't need to.
Let me tell you what's happening.
You can't say you're not missing anything, because I'm telling you there's something there.
You didn't tell me anything. You just told me.
I'm telling you that there's nuance.
What you told me was What you told me was exactly what I thought it was.
What you heard.
A bunch of people got excited about the concept of the show and fell in love with the actors outside the show, and they wanted to root for the show.
They already love the books,
and they like the books,
the show,
and so they like the books because of they like the actors, they like the concept, they want to support it, so they're going to say it's good. And it wasn't. It was basic.
What I'm telling you, you're missing is that the book is even more layered, and what they were able to show is that this relationship, because of the the repressed sexuality of it and the long-term building of the relationship. I understand the way that
What
you're
did they
looking at it
build?
from you're looking at it from a heteronormative view.
No, I'm
And what
not.
I'm telling you is
It's
okay,
not
let me finish.
heteronormative
Let me
to.
finish. It is, because the way that you're thinking about building relationships looks different. It looks different when you're not able to go on dates, when you're not
Who
able
said
to be
anything about
around the
go?
person.
Chanel,
I'm saying
they
that
would
getting
go.
to
No,
know
no, no,
someone and
no,
falling
no.
in
You're
love
wrong.
looks different
You
when
are
the
wrong
society
here.
won't let you do it.
You are
Do you
wrong
understand?
here.
Listen to me. Listen to my statement. I'm not. This is a factual statement. Falling in love and dating looks different when society will not let you do it in public. When
That's
you
not what I'm
have to
talking
do it in
about.
private.
That's not what I'm talking
But
about.
that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is inherently true based
Yeah,
on
but
what
I'm
we
not
know.
denying that.
So
That has nothing to do with what I'm
my
saying.
point is that this love story needs to be seen through that lens.
I
And when you
am.
look at it through that lens, and stop reacting and just let me say my thoughts. When you look at it through that lens and you go back, you realize this is a love story and they were falling for each other way before we realized it. And this long draw out was them. So when they got to the cottage, for fans of the book and of the show, when they get to the cottage, you are like, oh shit, this is a beautiful, rewarding feeling. And Scott and Kip, being on another end of that spectrum, gave them the power to let that love show on their own. And there's a lot of love that happens at the end, like those scenes. It's like all this buildup for them to actually show each other tenderness finally, that they both have been denying from each other because of Shane's repression and Ilya's Russian bullshit. So that's why I'm just explaining to you why people loved it. And then I purposely stopped watching the social media stuff until I watched the show because I didn't get it. And then in hindsight, I was like, this makes it even better. So that's why you don't have to agree. I don't care if you agree or not. That's why people love it, because of the way that they were able to take these characters in the books, make them alive. There's an unrequitedness. There's like a aching in their love and in their acting, and there's so much nuance in them playing these closeted characters, and then the context of hockey and everything else. And my point I was trying to make before that I'll wrap up on is that the dynamic is different because there is something to be said about a man like if Scott was a man and Kip was a woman, hiding her in your apartment and all that is like harmful because of what women already go. It's harmful because of what gay men go through, and it's harmful because of what women go through. But Kip had love and acceptance in the rest of his life, which is a beautiful thing to see. And so we saw that like that relationship was not worth his self-respect to him, but he ended up being able to have it all later, but he did get hurt by that process. So my point is that I don't see them as the ideal love story because of that.
I didn't say it was an ideal love story.
I'm just telling you my point. I'm just telling you that. And then on the Shane and Ilya side, neither one of their careers suffered for how they treat each other. They both were able to be their best. I think that's why you can enjoy it in a different way, because you don't have to worry about either one of them the way you would if one of them was a woman. And so that's why I enjoyed watching it, and why like it was like cool.
Woman,
like they can be assholes to each other.
If this was a woman, I don't care about that, because I'm not judging.
I'm telling you why I care.
I'm saying I'm not judging this on if it was a woman. I'm judging it on the show itself.
That's okay. You don't have. Okay.
I was making a comment on the show. You're telling me all this stuff outside of the show, and I'm saying talk about the show.
No, but I think the dynamics of that is why the show is and the books are good, because of them being a gay character. That like it's not just
I know, I get
one
that.
thing to pull you in.
No,
yeah,
I understand that. I'm saying I don't need to compare it to something else to make the show better. Is the show good? You're saying they couldn't be in public and go on dates. Yeah, obviously I know that. They also spent many, many, many nights with each other. Many, many, many nights with each other.
Yeah, so I'm sure they talked more than we thought.
We never saw them talk.
We didn't see Scott and Kip talk.
Yes, we did.
Scott and Kip just lived together all of a sudden.
Scott and Kip were cooking together. They were watching TV together. They went to an art show together. We saw them do a bunch of things to get to.
Scott acted crazy.
Scott
acted crazy at the art show.
Scott went to the smoothie place every day and would talk to him for 20 minutes.
Banana,
he would sit there.
Banana, blueberry, and left.
No, he would talk to him for 20 minutes. He would sit there on his laptop and talk to them. They talk to each other.
The point is that they were more scared of intimacy, and so when they finally get to a place of intimacy, it means more. You don't have to see it that way. I'm just.
I didn't say intimacy. I said I'm not even talking about intimate talk. I'm not talking about spill your guts to me. I'm saying
but that's my point.
talk.
Any of that is intimate to both of them because they're both like, they're both people who needed that time to be able to trust. And then when they did trust and be with each other, they just melded, and that's why it's so satisfying. I'm telling you why people.
Yeah,
are
but that's
satisfied,
not a believable love story to me.
That is believable in the context of them being a Canadian man who's Asian.
What does a Canadian man being Asian have to do with talking to people? Canadian Asians don't talk to people? Like, what are you saying? Russians don't talk to people?
There is an Asian and a Canadian thing happening. There's a dynamic there in hockey. If you didn't pick up on that, the whole idea is like he's one of the first Asians in hockey.
What does that have to do with talking to people?
It's not about talk. Do you not understand Shane as a character is a person who bottles everything up? He doesn't say how he really feels. And that's why, and that has to do with Asian culture. I don't know if it has to do with Canadian culture, but it has to do with being one of the first Asians.
Yeah, I get that. You keep saying everything he feels. I'm not talking about spilling your guts out.
That's why it's so much pressure. That's why it's so much pressure for him to hold it all in.
I'm not even talking about that. I understand that. I'm saying say anything. Anything. If I went on a speed date, dating, where I had to run around a restaurant and I had 1 minute to talk to each other, I would say something. Even if I was the shyest person in the world, I'd say something.
So Shane being all quiet like that and always saying the perfect thing at the end in the cabin, he finally says, "Do not marry your friend. Do not marry the black girl. I forgot her name, but she's built. Do not marry her. We will figure it out." Shane finally speaks up and says how he really feels in that hard
but that's
moment.
the deep stuff.
And Ilya responds by saying he loves him. I'm telling you that him not speaking for 5 episodes is why people love the cabin. And the cabin is like the cottage is a special thing for heated rivalry fans. I'm just letting you know. You don't.
I'm saying this story. I'm saying a real love story would have never gotten to this point if you can't.
And I'm saying it's only real because they are two gay hockey players, and that's the culture that they're speaking to. They're speaking to this repression and how this would happen if you are repressed.
Okay, hold on. I think I'm not being clear to you. I'm not talking about opening up their true emotions to each other. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about how much I love you, or this is what I'm scared of, or I want to be with you, or I'm worried about this, or any of those things that they talked about in the cottage. I'm not talking about that. I get that. I'm not silly. I understand that dynamic. Mm-hmm. I'm saying they had no conversations about nothing for 5 episodes. About nothing. Not a video game. Not Cheetos. Not your favorite potato chips. Not if you like orange juice.
I think you missed it.
Nothing. The only conversations they had, this is what they had.
About hockey?
I'm going to fuck you up in hockey. You're going to lose. I can't wait to fuck you. I'm going to suck your dick. I can't wait to fuck you. I'm going to suck your dick.
What about Ilya making that grilled cheese? The grilled cheese was him telling him he loved him.
No. That was later. I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna suck your dick.
That's not in the cottage. He ran because you're missing it.
That's all that happened.
Thing, he made him the grilled cheese and it made him run because that was intimacy. That grilled cheese was a pivotal moment.
What episode was that?
4.
Okay, so 4 episodes in, he made him a grilled cheese sandwich.
It's a slow burn.
It's not a slow burn. There was no love, is what I'm saying. There was no buildup. There was nothing. There was no. This is not a gay hetero
thing. You didn't
thing.
see it in the first watch
because I know gay people. Guess what gay people do? Talk to people. They talk to people.
Yeah.
I knew a closeted gay person. Guess what a closeted gay person does? Talk to people.
Professional athletes, because this is way more about the context that they grew up in. It's not everything is meaningful here. The hockey of it, the Canada and Russia of it.
Shane is not repressed. I've seen him talk to his teammates.
Shane is no.
Shane went to his teammate's house over and over again. He had a good relationship with his teammate's wife.
And lied. He couldn't be himself the whole time.
I'm not talking about Chanel. You are going way above. I'm not talking about that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. You keep making it about these big things. I'm saying when people engage in a relationship, they have a conversation about something.
Yeah, I think you would have to rewatch it because you missed it. I think you missed it.
You're like Shane is so repressed. He didn't express all his feelings early to him. And I'm like, no
I think you
shit.
missed it.
I didn't expect that. You know what I would expect Shane to say?
Shane doesn't express his feelings to anyone.
I don't care about expressing his feelings. I'm saying say something.
Shane doesn't say anything to anyone.
Yes,
That's
he
the
does.
point.
We've seen him talking to his teammates.
But he's lying when he does it.
I don't care if he's lying.
Like you can.
I don't care about lying. He's still talking.
I'm telling you why people felt it. It does not feel like he's being his real self until episode 6, and that's
he
why
wasn't. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no.
Okay.
You are looking at this from like, oh,
I did not feel that way when I watched it.
He finally expressed himself, and that's not what I'm saying. Every single time they met in the actual show, this is not subjective. This is not a debate. Every single time that they met up,
I think you missed some of the moments that they did talk. There's small nuance in how they talk, and I know what you're saying is like, oh, that doesn't feel like enough, like what Kip and them had, but it's just not.
no.
It's just
I'm saying when they met up,
yeah, when they be in bed,
when they met up by themselves, because they talked at like the commercial shoots and at the bar and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about when they would meet up when it's just the two of them at whoever's house or at the hotel, whatever the fuck.
I think there's more nuance to it in those.
They would show up. They would
watch.
say a slick line to each other.
Mm-hmm.
He would respond with a slick line, and then they have sex, and then that's it.
Yeah. But there's a little bit more in those nuggets that you missed that would happen each meetup. Like if you go back and watch how you need to look at the heated rivalry cams where people will compare this kiss and the stairs in the hallway and see in episode 2, and you'd be like, if you look at it there, you can see the intensity there. Like you can there. That's why it's so good, because people can go back and break it down. And I think it has to do with people who've seen the whole show and can go back and who's watched all the movies. I mean, oh my God, read all the books and can go back and see. I'm just telling you that there's lore here and there's nuance that you did not get from the show. And I think I appreciate that as a hetero male, you watch and you were like, I'm not here to be weirded out about it because it's sexual. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be freaked out about that. And the story could have been better storytelling for me. And I respect that. And I'm explaining to you why I enjoyed the storytelling and why that might be a female gaze thing. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, that's fine. We don't have to agree. You think it's mid. I think it was great. And I think it was a slow burn. And I think maybe I relate to it as someone who feels like I'm not able to show my feelings to people right away because it will scare them. And so the slow burn and being able to let it out, like, it's very, for me as a person, it's very, I'm able to see nuance and like see meaning in the early stuff because that's how I feel about stuff. And you might not relate to that, and that's okay too. But that's why people love heated rivalry.
I actually texted someone who watched the show while we were on the show.
Someone who's in your network, so in your bubble, but okay, go ahead.
No, and this is I guess I don't want to say, I guess I don't know how to describe her sexuality. Bisexual or pansexual, I don't know. She likes everyone. I don't know how to describe it. But she's not a heterosexual woman, okay? And she said, I didn't care for it. It was marketed to me as tension, a slow burn, but all I got was instant love and obsession for no reason. We learn almost nothing about either of the characters because the main character's thoughts are only about how he wants to bang. That's exactly what it was. He says by the end of the show, they started liking each other for real, and the lust was going away, and the last episode was very cute and emotional, but it wasn't earned because the first 4 to 5 episodes, they didn't build to that moment, which is exactly what I'm saying. I get everything that you're saying about the show in the nuances of being closeted and being a hockey player and all these different things. All of that makes sense. I'm talking about the show itself, the way the show was edited, the way the show was cut, the way they explained these things. They did not build to that moment. They speed raced to that moment. And then the acting, which was excellent acting, like top tier TV acting, which I said at the beginning, the acting made you care about the moments because the look on Shane's face when he's talking to Rose, the pain, the joy and pain of Scott when he comes out at the Stanley Cup, Ilya finally opening up on the cottage, the acting on their faces and their words. When Ilya was speaking in Russian to Shane to tell him how he feels when he was going through it after his daddy died, you could feel that pain and him just being able to let loose and be able to talk to someone. The acting was excellent in this show. I never denied that. I'm saying the show itself, the writing of the show, how the show was structured, how they decided to edit the show, the scenes they decided to keep in, how they put those things in, was not done in a way to build to the moment of the last episode where I'm supposed to feel this thing for everyone. If you felt that way because the acting made you feel that way, I get that. To me, you can have great acting in a poorly written show or a poorly structured show. Those two things can exist. I thought the acting was fantastic in the show. I thought the structure of the show and the love story of it was about as bare bones of love story as you could possibly write. It was the most basic love. It was, if someone said, tell me, if I asked ChatGPT to tell me a love story about a closeted athlete and another closeted athlete, I bet it would be something similar to this. And then if you give me two fantastic actors, if you give me two fantastic actors who can then take that basic plot and with the visuals and their words make you feel, that's what you got here. You got two actors who were great, who made you feel.
That's not a smart. I don't think that's really a good way to advertise to critique anything, because you could break everything down to like, this is just Shakespeare redone. Like Succession is a basic ass story with twists and turns. Like if you boil it up to the top plot, and it's only good when you get into, like, I guess Succession is bad because there's so many layers of people and stories happening. My point is, like, you can boil it down to King Lear, but when you look into the nuance of it, and if you are able to see the nuance because of your perspective, it makes it a better show.
The nuance in Succession is in the writing. The nuance in this show is in the acting.
And I agree. No, I disagree. But I think that the reason why you're able to see that is because I think there's some context you bring in Succession that allows you to pull that layers out very quickly. There's somebody who, for example, I know people who never got into Succession and they maybe don't have the comedy or the TV show like background to be like understand these characters, or they don't have the career experience for this to be like funny or ironic to them. My point is that how you come to it as a watcher is valid. And so I just say that to say that there's a whole community of people who love Heated Rivalry, and I can share some of that with you, and I will, of like why people are like, hey, I've reheated it, which is what they call it when they rewatch it. And when you go back and watch, there's so much nuance you miss in the beginning because you don't know what to look for. And I'm just telling you that exists. You might be able to look at every clip and be like, I disagree. But if you read it that way, it does make a lot of sense. When you read it as they were in love from the beginning, and this is how you can go back and look at it, everything lays out very well for the people who know the show very well and know where it's going. So anyway, I'm excited to see where I haven't read ahead. I'm excited to see what happens. I think they created a reality now where you get to see season 2 be them actually being around each other and living more in their ability to like talk to each other and everything. And I think hopefully you see, like, they're both in Canada and you get to see them have a relationship. And I think that will be wonderful, beautiful, good, dramatic, hurtful, whatever. I think most love stories are very basic because there's only so much. Like the only love story that's ever been unbasic is like the breakup, with with Jennifer Aniston and what's his name.
I agree with that, which is why I was so surprised that you and others were talking like this was this revolutionary thing.
The nuance is in when you go back and look at the every micro moment, every micro feeling was impactful. If you can read it like that, you will understand why I feel the way I feel about it, because it actually is very impactful when you maybe it's what you're saying is acting, I'm saying is writing. Like I think it's both. Anyway,
I think the acting was excellent. Like,
but the acting isn't compensating for bad writing. The writing is what it is to make the acting shine, but it's not bad writing. It's
because I could write. What I mean by that, hold on, real quick. What I mean by that is, I think a lot of people, if they were writing a show about, I don't want to. I'm not barreling it down to this. I'm just saying this for the point of this argument. If I was writing a show and part of the show was I'm going to have a closeted gay character come out to someone that they're comfortable with, right? If anyone was writing a love story with a gay couple and one or both of them were closeted, that at some point in that story, they would have a moment where one of the characters comes out to someone. That'd probably be common in any love story about a gay couple. Like they finally come out to their sister or their brother or their best friend or this whoever, right? That would be part of everyone. So they had that scene with Rose. The writing in that, it wasn't anything fantastic about writing that scene. Anyone would have came up with that scene. What made that scene great was the actor who plays Shane's emotion on his face during that scene and how everything was happening. He didn't even say much during that scene. He didn't say really anything. It was all face acting. And it was fantastic. That's fantastic acting. But it's not great writing. It's basic writing with a fantastic actor. What I was told about this show was like, you got to watch the show. It's just this groundbreaking show that you just won't be able to believe that you're watching. And there was nothing groundbreaking about it.
I never said groundbreaking. No, I never said that. I told you to watch it because it was a good show. And I don't think I got into what's good about it because I could not do that without getting into some of the context. But at the end of the day, what's good about it for me is the nuance of the writing, which you did not agree about, and the satisfaction I feel in the love story. I actually think the less realistic love story was Scott and Kip. I think that one was more fantastical, and the Ilya and Shane of it was a lot more grounded in how relationships really do happen in life. So I don't think that's like
hold on. Whose relationship works like that?
Hey, and you might just be in your ivory tower of having a good old life with a good old marriage, but a lot of relationships look just like that in this day and age, where there's people fighting against actually treating each other well. And then
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the talking.
The Kip and the Scott, but again, I would tell you this. I think it would be a rewatch where you're looking for that, and you would see it more when you rewatch it. It's just not, you don't see it at first. And I hear you, but I'm just telling you it's there. I'm telling you it's there. I'm telling you it's nuance. I'm telling you it's crumbs, but it's there.
They showed them texting all the time, right? On the screen. We saw them text all the time. At what point did they text each other anything that wasn't sexual?
It's not. That's the point. That's the point. That's the point.
That's what I'm saying. That is the point.
That's the point.
That is the point.
And then when they would be together, there would be sparks of it there. That's the point. Or like when he wanted to tell him about his feelings and he didn't. That's the point. When he wanted to be like, we didn't even kiss. That's when he already felt something. When he's like, we didn't even kiss and he didn't say it. That is the point. They love each other from then. They love each other from afar. That's the point. I don't know.
You didn't even see them text say like, good morning. How's your day?
Because they don't do that, and that's the point. And I'm telling you, that's
my point. That's not a love story.
Unfortunately, that is a modern day love story. Unfortunately, that is real.
That's not a love story.
Okay.
You hold on.
Appreciate it.
No, we're not done yet. You're telling me that there are people, you want me to believe, you seriously want me to believe that there are people who fall in love with each other who never say anything other than let's fuck or suck my dick or let's have a shower together or I'm going to make you come. And they just do that for 4 years and they're in love. Like the feelings of love, it's not lust, it's love. It's just deep love. If you want to simplify
it like that, yes. If you want to simplify it like that.
Where does that happen? Where does that happen? Even if I'm trying to just have, even when I was single and I'm just trying to have sex with a woman, I would even pretend to care what they think.
I think that's why you cannot compare it, because there's a gender nuance to heterosexual relationships that does not have to happen here. You will rarely have women and men who come from the same emotional background, emotional expectation, dating. You do not, so it's going to be a clash. It's going to be an issue.
But this is not the first homosexual relationship on TV. I've seen many of those on TV, and they talk to each other.
Say that. That's not what I said. That's not my point. My point is that you have two men coming from the same background where there's a version of repression, and you watch them both work through it. That's it. That's all. You might disagree. You might not like it. That's what I'm telling you it is, though. And that's okay. You're not going to agree. You're not going to agree. That's okay. I'm good with that. I'm just telling you, this is why I thought it was a big deal. This is why I thought it was a good show. And there's like a huge community of women who love this show. So that's all I'm letting you know.
I'm
like,
not shocked by that at all. That doesn't surprise me one bit.
And I think that you should open yourself up to reading what some people think about it to see the differences in opinion, because like you and your one friend's opinion might be different than like, and my opinion is not even influenced by Hudson Williams being fine as hell and Connor being like one of the cutest men ever to be alive. It's not even that. I just appreciate the love story of it all, and if you don't, that's probably good for you. That's probably healthy. That's probably great that you didn't think it was love. I get it. Anyway, this is the love. I guess this is the level of dialogue I wanted to have about Heated Rivalry. I am so sorry to the people who were excited for us to like love on this show, and then Brandon came in and hated it. I really apologize. I know you're crushed.
There's
like,
no way they thought I was going to love this show. Let me be clear before we go. Let me be clear. I did not hate the show. I did not hate the show. It was not a bad show. I just want to be clear. It was not a bad show. It was just boring. It was just boring.
To Davis, Aaron, I apologize. I'm so sorry. You waited 2 whole weeks for us to do this recap, and Brandon just shit on you and your feelings and your opinions. I'm so sorry. I love you so much. You have a home here in my heart. Me, you, Hudson, and Connor. Yeah, it's just this is
you know, I'm an emotional person, Chanel. I want to feel something when I watch TV shows.
I don't know how you didn't feel everything.
Feel
this made me feel so. I felt a lot. I felt so many things.
Yeah, I did. In the scene with Rose and Shane, I literally had tears in my eyes.
I felt the least there. That I didn't give a fuck. Move along.
That was the one that was good. That was good.
And it's okay. And that's okay.
And Shane and Kip, Scott and Kip, I felt a little bit. But Ilya and Shane, I was like, I'm watching the show. And here's the thing. The whole time watching the show, I was like, oh. I was watching the show and I'm like, oh, at the end of the season, they're going to have some heart to heart and it's going to say that they loved each other this entire time, even though they never showed me once that they loved each other this entire time. And so I'm watching the show from that perspective.
It's no point in going back and forth because I'm telling you, if you rewatch it with the knowledge that they do love each other from the beginning, you will see it. You didn't want to see it, you don't see it, that's fine.
If I have to watch a TV show, see the ending,
does not mean. No, because that's like saying somebody who doesn't understand science thinks foundation is stupid or too dense. That's not true, right? It's like it might not be for them at that particular moment in time, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I wouldn't tell somebody that you have to watch all of Foundation, see the ending, and then you'll understand the show. That's a bad show.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you got to the end of the season and you were like, I don't agree with it. But I'm telling you that there are people who saw it and realized it in hindsight, and that's just something you weren't willing to go with, and that's fine. Like it's like when a reveal happened, you wouldn't question the reveal if it was like the orphan. When they tell you the girl's 36, you don't go, no, she's really 7. You go, oh shit, this explains XYZ. But in this moment, you know that they love each other and you're trying to find holes in it. But if you did not want to find holes in it, you would also be able to find proof that they love each other. It's the same thing. It's a twist at the end that you have to go back and be like, either I think it's justified.
Yeah, but it wasn't a twist. It was clear from the beginning what story they were telling.
I'm telling you a way to look at it. I'm telling you a way to look at it because you're trying to argue as if like you can argue that they're in love. I'm telling you they are in love, and if you go back and look, you'll see how. That's it. That's it. That's all. I'm not mad that you. I'm mad that you shit on it, but I'm not mad that you don't see it.
I didn't shit on the show. That's a bit extreme. Actually, we did have a lot more to say about it. That's why I'm cutting this off separate. This is going to be its own episode on the feed. But I did. Before we end, I do have a couple things to say that I did enjoy about the show. I greatly loved Shane's mama as his manager. She was pushing this motherfucker to be in Rolex, in cologne commercials, in underwear commercials. And she's like, you got to do this. And that motherfucker, and I'm watching this and I'm like, this also took me out of it a little bit, but I liked it, but it took me out of it a little bit. Cause I was like, hockey players not even that famous. In Canada, they're famous. So maybe it's a little bit different because he was in Canada. Cause I forgot Ilya was in Boston. He was in Canada. But I was like, hockey players not even that famous in America. So like, you're not about to put no hockey player on all these commercials that's boring as fuck on the commercials, right? Like, if you're gonna put if you're not if you're not like Tom Brady or like some big fucking like Tom Brady can be boring as fuck because everybody knows Tom Brady. It's just his name value. Or you got Tom
A
Brady.
lot of athletes are boring. Most of the athletes that we love were boring.
Yeah, because they have huge.
Boring.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
because they have huge names. What I'm saying is, a hockey player in America ain't that famous to have a huge name and be boring. The athletes that aren't like the big superstars that you see on commercials are because they have these big personalities. The big personality athletes.
Well, so that's because the NBA has been able to, like, that's the thing. That's more of a function of America consumerism developing, and I think in Canada it might look very different.
Like Ilya would be great on commercials because that motherfucker had a smart mouth and
in America,
always
right, but
talking
not in
shit.
hockey. Right, but not in hockey. Hockey looks different, and hockey and Canada both are culturally very different. That's the part of it.
I mean, not really.
Hockey. I'm as a neighbor to Canada, someone who knows a lot of Canadians, and I could be in Canada in 30 minutes from where I'm at right now. I'm telling you that the culture is different, right? So first of all, if you go back to think about like sports in the 60s or 70s, nobody was, nobody's business was being told. Everyone was just there to be like, wrestling was like a fringe sport where the personalities were like not taken seriously. But did John Elway, did you know about his mama and his wife and kids? And did he have a reality show? No. And then over time, I think as brands and money developed out of being able to like get into people's business and making them more controversial, and more Black people, to be honest, got into the league, and there was more personality in general. You saw sport, and then everything else, like all rising tides, right? So now we know about Serena Williams' family, we know about Tiger Woods, we know about like and even golf is still kind of boring, right? But like golf is a great example of, Phil Mickelson. We don't know what the fuck that nigga be doing, but he's good, and so that's it. So I think Canada is more of a reflection of that. Like Shane would be a perfect reflection for Rolex because he's stoic.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say to you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say to you. I thought it was fucking funny that he was sitting there stoic and clearly didn't want to be there, but doing these fucking commercials because his mama made him do his commercials because she's his manager. But his mama also is this person that wants him to be so uptight and like pristine image while talking cash shit about Ilya every time he would come around him because he hates his motherfucking guts. I love that character. She was great. She was fucking funny. So I love that. I'm just telling you the things that I liked about the show since she said I shitted on it because that's not fair. I just said it was boring. I also love Kip's best friend. I forget her name. That worked at the juice bar with her.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's a heroine.
She was basically like, you're not about to like treat my best friend like he's a piece of shit. Like, what's your intention with him? Why are you doing this shit? I know you like him. I'm not going to tell you a secret because I'm not that motherfucking type of person, but you're not about to hurt him. I love that. That's what a best friend would say. So I appreciate that. This is what I was trying to say earlier. How she reacted to the situation is how someone would react to that situation who cares about their best friend. That is what I would expect someone to do in some way, shape, or form. And so I really appreciate it. So I really liked her. I also liked Ilya's girlfriend, although I was like, did you have to have a Black Russian? Because that was throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah, Svetlana, that's what her name was. Yeah. I mean, hey, I'll take the diversity because we're nothing else.
The Black Russian was throwing me off just a little bit. But I loved how she was like, oh, no. I'm not just fucking Ilya. I'm his hockey confidant. I'm going to tell him all this shit he needs to know about hockey and the other players and what he should do and how he's fucking up. I love that because I like that this idea that women don't know sports. No, women know sports. It's just she got to be into sports. If she not, I don't know. There was a rapper on SmackDown yesterday, right? Named Lil Yachty. I ain't never heard of that motherfucker in my entire life. And I said,
pause. Stop. Is this the last episode of this podcast?
What?
Did you just tell me in April of 2026 that you don't know who Lil Yachty is?
No, I don't know who the fuck this person is. I've never heard of him in my entire life.
And then also, you told me this is the second strike because you live in Texas and told me you don't know who Travis Scott is, and so
No,
I'm just
no,
gonna
no,
have
no,
to
no.
in
I
a
didn't say I
second-
don't know who Travis Scott is. I
What'd you
said I
say?
don't know his music. I've of
Worse,
course heard
because
his
he's from
name.
Texas, so that's crazy. No, that's crazy.
I'm not from Texas. I'm
You-
from Baltimore.
You know,
Why the
but
fuck
you've
would I
been
care?
you've been living in Astro World for years, and so at some point the culture got to seep in.
I've
So
been
my
living
point,
here for
all
like
I'm saying
6
is
years.
your credibility, your nose to the ground, your ear to the streets is. There's a big brick wall between you, and so that's why it's like your opinions are about to be mud in my
No,
my
it's
mind
valid.
because you're okay.
Because
That is valid.
my
You're right.
point
I'm
is,
valid.
see women who don't know nothing about sports, it's because they don't give a shit about sports. It's not because they women. Just like
So you don't give
I'm
a shit about
supposed
hip
to,
hop.
I don't give a shit about modern hip hop. No, I don't give a shit about it. So I don't know none of
Modern.
those motherfuckers. But you would
That's
expect
crazy.
a black man
Yachty's
in his
not even-
30s
Yachty is
to probably
solid.
know who Yachty is. I don't know who the fuck Yachty
Yes.
is, and I'm a black
Are
man
you in
in
your
his 30s.
40s? Yes
No.
or no? Are you in your 40s?
I'm a black
Exactly.
man who loves hip hop who doesn't know who the fuck Yachty is.
Who loves
right?
Houdini? You act like Houdini's the last cool rapper that came out. You're so annoying.
So,
They're gonna
so
eat you up. They're gonna
so
eat
I
you
saw-
up. Don't
I s-
text. Hey, listen, if you're watching this right now and you have my number, you text me your opinions about Brandon. Don't do that no more. Go and post on Spotify or YouTube and light him up. I'm tired of fighting this battle on my own. Brandon's talking crazy today.
So I like
Thank
them
you very
bringing
much.
in. I like them bringing in against the stereotype that it wasn't like his brother that was talking to him about hockey. It was her talking to her about hockey. So I really
Oh, yeah, for sure.
appreciated that.
But I mean, I think that also, like a momager though, like that's the thing. I think that felt very normalized to me because I don't know if I grew up around hockey in Michigan. Moms be the main ones taking their kid to hockey, getting to know it. Like moms get very into sports because they're the ones who actually like have the time, and especially in these like nuclear households where
Yeah,
the
but she
man
wasn't
works.
no
you
mama.
know?
Is my point. She wasn't no mama yet.
Oh, you mean Svetlana? You're not talking
Yeah.
about. Yes, no, yeah. Svetlana's like a very interesting character because she's like one of the only people. If it wasn't for Svetlana, I think Ilya would have missed the boat on Shane because he was one of the only people who really loved Ilya and accepted him for who he was early on. And I fuck with Svetlana as a result of that.
Yes. So I
'Cause he didn't have
also enjoyed that.
nowhere else to go. Yeah. Mhm.
So don't think I didn't watch the show or didn't pick up on this stuff. All I'm saying is
I just think you live in an ivory
way
tower of
you
emotion
hype this
where
show
everything's
up-
healthy for you.
if you would have just told me, hey Brandon, I want you to watch this show, I think you might find some interesting parts to it. I would have went to the show and be like, oh, yeah, I did find some interesting parts to the show, and I thought the acting was great. But instead it was like, the heated rivalry is the biggest thing on TV now. How are we not watching this amazing show? It's the most incredible show. We have to watch it. You have to sit down and watch it. And then every week, how have you not watched Heated Rivalry yet? How have you not watched Heated Rivalry yet? It's the best thing you've ever watched. And I'm like, I'm watching 6 shows right now that are more interesting than this show. That are more interesting. Not better acted, right? Not better acted. This is probably one of the better acted shows I've watched. I mean, the acting in the show is excellent. I can't even like say anything negative about that. It's one of the better acting shows I've watched in a while. But interesting. I'm watching 6 other shows that are far more interesting than this. So when you were telling me that like you got to sit down and watch this show, I thought I'm about to watch this like really incredible, like wild love story that takes me on all these twists and turns. And I was
Also,
waiting for the
put
twists
my
and
shit
turns.
in the back of the queue. Had you watched it when I first told you to watch it, you wouldn't have been up against this and Monsters of Mayhem and damn Let's Go to Space and all the other shows you watching.
Yeah, and Daredevil and Invincible and Paradise, all the like the boys, the interesting shit.
So I'm saying the boys don't count because that's what I'm saying. This shit came out last year, so I'm not trying to. Everyone who knows. It took you 3 months to watch Weapons. So the timeliness for you is not a good argument, but it's okay. We're here now. You've watched it. You don't agree. I don't know what to say about that. I think you should sit with that for a little bit.
Just for the
and really
record,
reflect.
just to put this on record, if we're tallying up all the shows that one host has asked the other host to watch and the other host actually watched the shows, I am something to 0. Because Chanel hasn't watched a single thing I've told her that I want her to watch since we started the podcast. So she can't get on me because she asked me to watch something. Even if I watch it a couple months later, I'll watch it. I watched you.
Help me understand what.
I watch Weapons.
I
I
what
watch Heated
show did I
Rivalries.
not watch? Real quick, what showdown I watch?
I don't have to go back in time and rehash history. You
Because
know,
you don't have one. You're lying. That's why. We don't believe you. You need more people.
I don't like to run down my friends. So I just wanted to make it known.
You don't have one. You don't have a single one.
Oh,
I started For All Mankind.
No.
I didn't get past them getting off the spaceship.
You didn't even get past one season.
Because it wasn't great.
I watched 4 seasons of you.
Yeah, you did, and had a crazy opinion. Are you still Team Joe at the end of season 4?
I'm not finished season 4 yet. I got like 1 episode left. I
Okay.
started watching you again to finish that.
Okay, good. Well, okay, to be fair, what I did wrong was I actually watched a show that was 5 seasons long. And that in hindsight,
and I
didn't
watched
think
it.
about the fact that it would take I didn't know. You haven't watched. You've watched half of it. But in my mind, I didn't realize that's going to take him 2 years. So I should have given you another show. But okay, no. What show did you tell me?
Industry. I watched Industry.
Is the show you watch? Yep. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is I can keep going.
What show did you tell me to watch that I didn't watch? So that's what we're talking about.
That you haven't watched.
I can't get into Monarch Legacy of a lot of shows are yours. Foundation is your show.
I didn't want you to watch Monarch. No, that's the show we did on the show.
Right, it's your suggestion. I would never have put it on the show.
I'm saying I've asked you to watch shows that we can just talk about and what we've been on, not as a podcast review show. Just hey, Chanel, go watch this.
All right.
And you haven't watched not near one of them.
You don't have
near one. Not near one.
You're just saying it.
And you've asked me to do that at least 5 times, and I'm 5 for 5.
Name one show. When you name a show, I'll admit I'm 0. I'm 0 for 1 when you name a show.
More than 0 for 1. You know what? Next time we come live, I'll have the list. I'll have the list.
Great. And I'll admit you're right if you actually have a list, because right now I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll have the list.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. I told Brandon this would be a whole episode. I don't know why he thought it would take 3 to 5 minutes, but thank you for listening to our recap of Invincible episode 6, as well as our heated rivalry debate. Brandon thinks it's mid. I think it's extra hot. I'm a heated rivalry stan. I'm a Shane stan. It's nothing you can do about it. Really excited to have you guys here with us after 500 subscribers. So share it with your friends. Click on your other profile on YouTube with your other email and subscribe to us there. And in the meantime, I guess that's really it. Contact us with the information in the show notes. Until next time, if We Was Watching is watching it, then you should be watching it.